what we do is remove the invasive plants and the invasive plant populations in order to restore our native systems here on the island.
Well, invasive plants, basically, it's a plant that comes from a different part of the world to a region like Catalina, an island, and it starts to take over. It starts to dominate a landscape. You see all this gray out here is all these stalks. They're all fennel. It's dominating the native plants and not giving them a chance to live. An invasive species is so well adapted to surviving and surviving better than the natives that it's gonna take over.
It's like the 6-foot tall first grader on the basketball team. There's no competition. There is no fairness.
We work on a variety of different invasive plants, primarily Genista, fennel, harding grass, and whatever other species that we find along the way.
The important thing with controlling the invasive plants is that the native animals have evolved for millennia to rely on the native plants that they've co-evolved with. So if you take away the native plants and throw in these non-native plants from all over the world, it disrupts the food chain.
Another good aspect of this is that one of our federal trust resources is an endangered island fox, and this particular effort is going to help aid in that current recovery effort for this endangered fox. So everything is a web. Everything is interconnected.
You really have a unique environment here on Catalina Island. There's things that grow here that cannot and have not grown anywhere else in the world. And so to protect that so that they don't go out and so that we can learn from it and preserve it both for ourselves and for the future.
And we have, over the last few years, we've developed a relationship with a number of island and off-island organizations. ACE in particular, which is American Conservation Experience, National Civilian Conservation Corps, which is an AmeriCorps program, as well as private and university volunteers that come out to work with us.
Put projects on the ground. That is our primary need, and that's how we got involved, because we have a Carlsbad Partners program, and they saw the need for this restoration effort, and we said we can provide funds to this group. So we needed to work together. We needed to combine staffing, funds, knowledge, science, everything that we could to get this grand scale effort off the ground.
ACE is a volunteer organization that works with many different nonprofits and national parks, and they supply volunteer work that can move in quickly and move out quickly.
The volunteer aspect of what we do is one of the most crucial components to the work that we do. We can't have technicians doing a lot of the on-the-ground work. We just don't have we wouldn't be able to muster the workforce required to do the work. And also, a lot of these people, they're here, they're not familiar with the area, they're from other countries, and so they're meeting new people, they're learning the language, seeing new places, and that's always interesting to watch.
I'm Daniela Bernard, and I'm an ACE volunteer, and I'm from Stockholm in Sweden.
We've had volunteers from Canada and from Poland.
Selena Powell, and I'm from Chino Hills, California.
I'm Tim Speckens, and I'm from Amsterdam in Holland.
Japan, Korea, Israel, all over Europe. It's unreal the number of places that you can explore just in our own living room or in the car on the way to work.
Different groups really can come together both on the work site and just socially as well, which is a nice opportunity to see people from all walks of life getting together to get this one goal accomplished.
We have such a good time when we're at work. We play silly games like Man or Monster or whatever, but we also keep in mind that what we're doing is important, and I think that when I try to enlighten everybody a little bit about what's going on, and then as people work together and they start to feel more passionate about the project, they can spread it along to everyone else.
We brought in a sort of a hit team of weed workers, supervisors and volunteers that are responsible for clearing all 220 miles of road, which is upwards of 10,000 acres on the island, which is actually almost 25% of the island. We've actively worked on 180 miles of road to this point, and we'll definitely close in on that 220 miles this year.
We started this project with the goal of treating roadside every inch of road on the island. And we spent the first 2 weeks and we cleared maybe a half mile of road. And everybody was kind of getting down on the project and, how are we going to do all this? And we basically took heart in the fact that we looked back where we were and it was totally clear. And on the edge there was this sharp line and above it there was a bunch of fennel. And I think that was kind of the turning point in the project when we realized that we could really make a major difference. And it took a lot of work, but you do all the work and your body recovers and you look back and the work stays behind.
A lot of the invasives are not coming back. And we're getting a lot of native plants that have been living in the seed bank that are just kind of waiting for the space and the sunlight in order to come up. We've gotten a lot of this giant reed grass. We're seeing a lot more bird activity. A lot more insect activity. We're getting milkweeds, we're getting monarchs, we're getting juncus, which is a rush filling in along the creek bed. And it's really neat for the generations of students that come here to be able to see that transformation. A lot of them, their siblings have been coming to the camp, so they can come here and say, oh yeah, my brother was here 5 years ago and he taught us about fennel, and we actually removed it, and now they're able to stand in a space that has native plants kind of filling in and be able to look at the insects and the birds and stuff that are performing really important roles for the island ecosystem.
Driving in and out of work along these roadsides, I can see the progress in terms of invasive plant removal along the roadsides that could only be achieved through really large effort on the ground through invasive plant crews, and it's really working. It's having a great effect.
It's easy to see more of this work happening because they've been so successful so far. And after a certain point with invasive plants, you start to turn the corner and you start to be on the winning end, and you're controlling more than they're reproducing. And I think they're getting to that point now where they're really starting to get a handle on it and hopefully getting back to a natural functioning ecosystem.
And now we have to maintain and continue on this project for another 5-10 years. And that enthusiasm and momentum that the Fish and Wildlife Service project has given us is gonna help us do that.
Invasive plants, they keep coming back. You can kill one, but there's millions of seeds in the ground, so you have to have the funding to keep it under control for years and years to come. Otherwise, all the effort that hundreds of people are putting into this project is wasted, and it's heart-wrenching to think about it.
A lot of the problems that are going on with the environment here, I mean, it was caused by humans. We didn't mean to. We're not necessarily bad guys, but we brought this stuff here, and I think it's our responsibility to help out. These plants are not going to help themselves. These trees aren't going to be able to fight the fennel effectively. So, we got to come in and do what we can to kind of mitigate the problems that the advance of human civilization has caused.
It's not just one particular group that can pull something together and do a fantastic job. We all need each other's help.
For me, it's really started to become a passionate thing. I love doing my work. Today, when we were killing Genista, I was so excited to get just a little bit further in, and I think that the excitement and the passion that comes from people who've been working on the project for years or months or multiple months, you can see it spread to other people, and they start to feel like, yes, this is a really important thing, and the more knowledge and effort you put into something, the greater the outcome.
It takes a lot of patience and a lot of commitment from staff, from an organization, to take on this kind of weed work, because you have to stay with it for so long. You can't ever put your shovels down. It gets easier and easier, exponentially easier as time goes on. And it's very rewarding, and as you see the native component come back in, and as you see the island stabilize, and you can do so much with that, and hopefully you'll have that generational return of your visitors and your volunteers that have been involved in these projects, and even staff, and they can come back and show their kids what good work we do, and what good work has been done.
It's almost like getting a glimpse into the past, seeing what California used to look like, 100 years ago, 200 years ago.
Sometimes a job seems impossible to do, but with the work of everybody else joining in all forces, it doesn't seem impossible, and the results are that much sweeter.
Conservation is a human endeavor.